Start recording. Okay. So I'm recording this session again para pa din yung balikan tsaka yung mga hindi nakapunta ngayon, pa din yung i-check lang yung recording, no? Alright, so this is the last lesson for ES1. We'll be doing aligned sections and you can find the plate for today or the practice worksheet for today dito sa plate 17. Ito actually yung ginamit natin last week, no? It's page 4 yung gagamitin natin of the practice worksheet. I'll be adding one more kasi since we have 3 hours to do this and kaya naman natin to in just siguro 30 minutes or 30 to 1 hour, no? So we'll do this simple one first, tapos dagdag tayo ng isang much more complicated na object, no? And we'll do those two. We'll probably end earlier today and the rest of the session gawin natin consultation session na lang for the object that you want to pursue dun sa final project nyo. Okay? So, let's start. Again, download the file. Tapos, gawin natin. Double check ko lang. Nagre-record ba? Okay, record naman. Tapos, again, hindi tayo mag-PDF import no? Kasi pag PDF import, hindi kasi siya gawa through AutoCAD. So, hindi siya nag-appear properly. No? So, we'll do attach. Ito yung gagamitin natin. So, let's go to the insert tab. So, from home, insert. Then, you do attach. And find the file. I'll select this one, sectional view. And okay lang. Nag-lag konti yung device ko na. Okay. Ang gagawin natin is I'll choose page 4 and I'll just specify 0, 0 na. Okay. Then zoom, extends. And from what we've learned before, parang need natin siyang i-scale up, no? So, probably the easiest way to scale up this is to, scale up the entire thing para sakto siya, yung units niya is yung exact dimensions of the A4 size, no? So, I'll just double check units through UN and naka-millimeter naman ako. So, since I'm doing millimeters, pwede kong gawin is I'll select this page. I'll do SC for scale. Then, select a base point which is the lower left. Ito, that's our base point. Then, instead of writing a scale factor, again, reference yung gagawin natin. So, we do R for reference. Select the bottom line, the reference line. Now, we can adjust this to the new dimension. Which is, kung A4 siya in millimeters, it's 210 by 297 yata. Basta ang alam ko base ang width ng isang A4 is 210. So pwede kong i-adjust to para maging 210 siya. So what happens is ito exact size na to. So this is now a scaled correctly, no? So if I just measure kunwari ito, let me just measure this one. It's around 35 which makes a lot of sense, no? Parang 35 millimeters ito. And just double checking ito, this should be 210. Tapos dun sa yung height niya should be 297. Tama, 297. So that's a quick way to scale up, no? But again, since infinitely scaling naman, if you're not particularly or kung hindi naman particularly interested tayo sa correct dimensions, pwede naman na hindi na natin i-scale up, no? Pero scaling it up just makes it easier para pagka tayo, yung tipong insert dimensions tayo or create tayo ng hidden lines, etc. Hindi na natin kailangan i-mess around yung scale factor, no? Kasi parang it's scaled correctly in the proper view, no? Okay? So, eto, gagawin natin is an aligned section and for an aligned section, hindi masyadong kita sa sa projector, pero the aligned section is this one right here and I'll just recreate the aligned section para mas makita nyo on screen. I'll just create a line. From here to here. Yan. So, nag-create lang ako ng line on top of the blue line kasi naka-blue line siya dito, no? So, this is our aligned section. So, the aligned section is, again, it's a sectional view wherein one of the section is not parallel to the other portion, no? So for example, this is the first section. This is vertical to the or perpendicular to the fold line, pero itong section na to is not perpendicular to the fold line, no? It's at an angle. Okay? Now, again, from our lesson from last week is that kung meron tayong aligned section, hindi natin pwede siyang directly i-project lang along the normal, no? Like, for example, normal to this, hindi pwedeng orthogonal lang siya or perpendicular siya dito sa folding line na to. Okay? Wait lang, parang nawala yung keyboard. Sorry. Hindi pwedeng gumawa lang tayo ng line here and ganyan, tapos i-project lang natin lahat ng lines na to perpendicular to this fold line, because what happens is dito sa portion na to where there is yung aligned section natin, yung section kung saan nag-bend siya, hindi na siya kumbaga nagpapakita ng true dimensions, no? So it is shown in a shortened view na kasi distances will be closer once projected into this portion right here. So before we can do that, kailangan natin siyang i-rectify, no, such that gagawin natin is we will create a sort of rectified na length dito. Tapos after rectifying it, tsaka natin siya pwedeng i-project. And later on ipapakita ko sa inyo yun, no? So at the start, gawin lang muna natin, and I'll just delete this first, no? Gawin lang muna natin is let's try to create the portion wherein parang full section lang siya, no, or straight lang yung section natin. Then afterwards, i-create natin ito. Okay? This object right here, pagka tinignan natin, it's a simple object, no? If you look at it from the top view, parang may dalawang rectangles tayong nakikita. Isang rectangle sa taas, itong rectangle na to, tapos isang rectangle sa baba. Okay? Tapos dito naman, baliktad yung rectangles, no? Yung large rectangle is nasa taas, tapos ito namang bottom or yung smaller rectangle is nandito sa bottom, no? Which means that this shape is probably para siyang L shape, no? Tama, para siyang may vertical wall na nakatayo, tapos meron kang platform na nakahiga sa ground. Tama? So that's the most likely configuration. Tapos dito sa platform na nakahiga sa ground, yun yung may butas na circle, which is signified by this one, no? Itong natin, itong hidden lines dito. Okay? So this can be easily done. Try lang muna natin, project lang muna natin from this point, and let me just change my layers now. I'll add a new layer. I'll just say answer. I'll make this yellow. So we project again, hindi nagwo-work yung snapping dito because this is a raster image, no? Let me just double click para select the correct layer. And I'll just begin to create my projection lines. From here. Ito, I'm just estimating kung nasaan yung center, no? Although, given naman yung center, which is this one, hindi ko alam kung litaw siya sa projector. Pero you can zoom in para mas makita nyo. And let's just start from this portion, no? Ito lang muna. And we have our itong starting point natin, no? Or yung markers natin, so we can create something that looks like this, and I can probably just trim this para mas malinis. Okay, tapos gawin natin is copy lang natin muna yung height ng object para alam natin kung saan siya mag-end. So this is this height right here, copy lang natin, and let's just create a perpendicular line like so. Okay, so ito yung sort of glass box natin for the parang upper side ng aligned section natin. Alright, so let's try to complete this. Gawin natin is let's do the wall first, no? Yung parang nakatayo na portion. So that portion is just signified by this one, no? Parang ito lang siya. If I created a perpendicular line from here to here, then this should be the parang kumbaga the side view of that wall, no? Right? So it's as easy as that. Tapos dito naman sa baba, which is yung thickness ng parang platform natin na nakahiga sa ground, is just this one, no? So pwede natin kopyahin yung distance na to. lipat lang natin dito. And I can create something like this. Now, I'll just trim this down. Ito, pwede siguro i-trim ko na din to. And this one, ito yung L shape na nakikita natin. So, it cuts across the section or the parang the solid itself. So, pwede natin siyang ma-create itong L shape na to. And just by looking at it, we know na pwede natin i-trim tong sides na to because this is an entire solid, no? Ito from itong buong to. From the wall up to the platform, isang buong solid yan. Okay? Now, from this portion, meron kasi siyang butas. So, we know na magkakaroon siya ng discontinuity dun sa parang hatch lines na i-create natin, no? Or yung solid portion. So, we can create a line going into the or projecting onto the sectional view. Tapos we can trim it down. Tapos itong line na to, this is where the solid section ends, no? So ito yung solid. Tapos pagdating dito, this is now the back half of the, I don't know, if you're looking at it from the right side view, ito yung back nung hole or ng cylinder dun sa likod. Tama? Which is shown as just a plane, no? Okay? So it's as easy as that. Madali lang natin na create yung first na section, no? It's just an L shape na merong portion kung saan hindi siya naka-hatch. Okay? So, ang pwede natin gawin is we create our polyline. Tapos create ko lang. And again, I'm using polylines because it's easy to hatch kapag naka-polyline sila, no? Instead of defining another region, no? Okay? So, this is our polyline. Ito siya. And let's use the hatch tool again. We press H for hatch. And lalabas itong menu na to. And I just realized, kaya pala lumalabas siya sa akin na ganito because I'm in immersive mode, no, wherein hindi naka-ribbon siya. Pero sa case nyo is naka-on yung ribbon nyo. If you press H, actually lilitaw siya dito sa ribbon portion. So, probably na-notice nyo din naman yon. And the options are actually dito sa, nandito sa top ribbon. Automatically lilitaw siya. Pwede kayong pumili ng ANSI, etc. etc. But if you're like me and you like working na siya, immersive mode, na naka-off yung ribbon, ganito, if you press H, ang lalabas is a dialog box, no? Okay, so let's select ANSI 31. It's the general purpose na pattern. Tapos, we select our object, no? Which is the polyline that we've just created. Press enter. Tapos, I think okay na yung default settings dito. If we press OK, it should hatch perfectly, no? So, notice how dahil ang ginawa natin is we created or we scaled the PDF up. Well, hindi na natin kailangan na baguhin pa yung scaling ng hatch lines. Okay na siya. So, that's one advantage of using of scaling your PDFs first before even beginning your drafting, no? Okay? So ito, I think this is okay na, no? Nagawa na natin yung first half. So, I'll siguro stop muna ako dito. Check ko muna yung work ng nandito sa face-to-face, no? Right. So, if you're having trouble, pero yung iba magsisimula pa lang yata kasi may clock error ba? Raise your hand kung may clock error. Pwede kong lumikot. Madali pa lang naman to, so don't worry, mabilis na lang makakot to. Okay? So, itong portion na to is, again, madali lang siya, no? So, itong mahirap is actually the align portion, no? Ito. This one. Because, again, ang goal natin is that kailangan natin siya ma-rectify from, and I'll just draw it again, no? Para mas malinaw. Hindi ko alam ba't yan. So, the problem is that kailangan kasi natin i-rectify muna ito such that it's now sitting parallel to the first line na ginawa natin. So, dapat ganyan siya. So, what we need to do is that we need to measure all the dimensions na tinatamaan itong section na to, and gagawin natin is create tayo ng arc such that papasok siya dito sa new section na ginawa natin. So, what that might look like would be, create tayo ng arc, place the center here, tapos, from this point, i-create natin yung arc papunta dito sa line na to. Which, this one, since, ito portion na to, most likely, dito siya mag-end, no? Because this is a circle, so, yung arc niya, if we were to, rectify it, papunta lang din naman siya dito, so, nandito yung portion na yan. Tapos, ang next niya na feature would be this one. Tama? So, ang natatamaan kasi ng mga features nitong align section natin is that this is the first na feature. Second feature would be this one. Tama? So, 2 features lang actually siya. So, we first do arc, the center from here. Tapos, create tayo ng ganyan. Kung saan siya tumama, yan yung location niya along the rectified na section na, which is this one. So, if I create another arc, see, from here, tapos ito, this portion right here, gusto ko siyang patama dito. Okay? So, this is now the new dimensions or the new distances na ipo-project natin onto this line right here. Okay? So, let's just extend this line like so. Tapos, ang gagawin natin is, extend lang natin siya from here to here. Kasi ito din naman, extend lang natin ng ganyan. Okay? So now, eto na yung continuation ng align section natin. So what we can do is, let's just extend this one, extend this line, like so. We can trim it. And alam ko na, and we can trim this one as well. Alam ko na eto, this portion right here is a solid na section, no? Naka-hatch siya kasi it corresponds to this one. Itong portion na to. Tama? So, this portion right here corresponds to itong intersection na to. Okay? Tapos, itong portion na to from here to here, yung paganyan, this one corresponds to the whole. So, ibig sabihin, from here to here. Okay? So, which makes sense na dapat itong line na to does not exist. Papalitan natin siya ng center line, no? So, ganyan lang siya. So, this is the curved surface na nandito, na litaw. Tapos ito naman is the section or the hatched na region. So I can just do a rectangle. Tapos click ko lang siya dito, pag ganyan. And I can do hatch again. Select my object, which is this one. Then press OK. And I should have hatched it. Ang kulang na lang dito would be the center line. No? So I can do center line command. I'll select this line and I'll select this opposite line, and it should create a center line, no? Pero masyado ito maliit, so I'll change the scale a bit kasi hindi siya litaw, no? Let's say 0.5 kung lilitaw, and 0.5 works, no? So that's our center line. So ganito yung itsura, no? So what you'll notice is that yung part na kung saan siya naka-align would appear as if parang larger siya than the actual extent of the glass box, no? Kasi the glass box extends only up to here. Dapat pag ganyan lang siya. Tama? So dapat hanggang dyan lang siya, pero our dimensions extended up to here. So it's because dito sa portion na to, ang ginawa kasi natin is, nirectify natin siya from this section, parang binend natin siya or straighten natin siya such that aligned na sila lahat into one one sort of rectified na section, no? So that's why ganito na yung tsura ng object natin. Okay? So again, this object is quite easy, no? Try natin gawin siya in 3D later on, pero I'll allow you to complete the work first before we proceed to the 3D version. So again, eto, na-imagine naman natin siya, no? Again, para siyang L-shape lang, tapos may butas siya, and because of the align section. Although, it must be noted, no, na this is not the, kumbaga, the optimum use of an align section, no? Because an align section is supposed to reveal features that can only be revealed kapag aligned siya. Pagka ganito, this is strictly for as an exercise lang, no? Kasi if you look at it, yung align section na pinili is this one, tapos nag-bend yung section papunta dito. Pero walang purpose tong bend na to, no? Kasi wala naman siyang additional feature na kumbaga tinamaan or gustong i-expose. And the primary goal naman ng align section is that there is another feature that is not covered fully by just one full section, no? So, again, this is not the way we use align sections, no? This is just an exercise para makita nyo kung paano ginagawa ang isang align section. I'll show you dun sa slides natin, dun sa eto. There's a good example of when align sections should be used, no? So, let me look at this one. This is a good use of align sections kasi if you look at it, if you just did a full section from this portion papunta sa ilalim, ang makukuha nyo is hindi nyo makikita itong feature na to off to the right side. So, in this case, it is more appropriate na instead of just one full section, ang gagawin natin is that we want to use an align section. Okay? So, ang best case dito should be this one. This is the align section. Okay? Such that makikita natin yung internal feature na to as well as this internal feature right here. So, if you look at the final answer, this one, kita natin yung both internal features. Which is, again, the primary purpose kung bakit tayo nagse-section view in the first place, no? Because we want to see the internal features of the object. Kaya hindi ko na ma-delete. Close ko na lang. Okay? So, we'll do another object. Okay na tayo? Pwede tayo mag-move on from this object or gusto nyo pang tapusin? Sige, tapusin nyo muna. Ito yung final answer niya. Okay. Ay, sorry. Maggagawa pala tayo ng 3D pa pala nito, no? The 3D version. The 3D version is again, easier siya, pero there is a bug in the 3D version, no, wherein hindi siya only half of the align section shows up hatched. So kailangan natin mag-create ng corrections, no? Using the layout tab. Okay, habol mo na iba. If you're having trouble, just raise your hands, tapos lalapit na lang kami. Ang expected final answer should be this one. Okay? So, most of you nakahabol naman na, and again, for those na hindi pa naka-fully habol, no, dahil sa mga technical difficulties, you can always just review this recording, tapos check nyo na lang yung mga techniques na you may have missed, no? Right? So, try natin ngayon. Let's do the 3D version, and to do the 3D version, ang gagawin natin is we first have to create the 3D model first, no? Okay? So, again, this shape is fairly simple. Parang isang box lang siya, no? Tapos, isang L shape lang siya with a wall and a platform. Tapos, dun sa platform, meron lang siyang butas, no? Okay? So, what we can do is, I think the easiest way is to just copy the sort of profile nitong top view, no? Kasi parang yung sa top view, yun lang yung i-press pull natin. Okay? So, we can do is, let's do a rectangle like so. Ito. Copy ko lang siya. Ang ganyan. Tapos, copy ko din yung profile nitong parang wall natin. Okay? Now, if I move this off to the side, dito lang sa, lagay ko lang sa right side, no? Parang ganyan. We now have a starting base wherein pwede natin i-press pull to, no? We can always just press pull one of the i-press pull natin tong large area by this height. Ito. Tama? Tapos yung smaller area, i-press pull natin by the height of the wall, which is this one. So I think that's the easiest way to do it, no? Okay? So pwede natin gawin is, and again, when I'm doing press pull, I like to orbit around, no, para kitang-kita ko kung paano siya nag-press pull. And I'll change this to hidden para hindi siya magkaroon ng mga optical illusions, no? But before that, kailangan ko pala kopyahin muna yung I need to get the distances, no? Ito, this is, again, memorize lang yung distances. This is 9.9. So, I'm saying, let's just say 10 to. 10. 9.9. This is 10. Tapos, ito namang larger height. It's 34.6. 35 siguro. Let's just, so, mga 35 ka. Okay? So, 10 for the base. Tapos, 35 for the wall. Okay, so for the base, gawin lang natin is we just do press pull. Tapos, hover over the area. Ito. Tama? Itong larger area na to, make sure na tama yung area na hina-highlight ni AutoCAD, no? So, I'm hovering over this bounded area and ipa-press pull ko lang siya by, sabi natin 10, no? Parang ganyan. And the other area, which is this one, press pull din natin by 35 naman. Okay? So, ganyan siya. Tapos, if you look at it from itong hidden portion na to, may line pa dito, which means na may correction pa tayo, no? Kasi if you look at it, two separate objects siya. So, this should be one object, no? So, let's do union. Select the two objects, press enter, and nawala yung line, which means na isang solid object na siya. Like so. Okay? Kulang na lang is the hole that's located here, no? So, hanapin natin yung hole na yon. So, again, let's do... the bad thing about, when you're working with raster images is that hindi siya lumilitaw not unless binalik mo sa 2D wireframe yung rendering or yung visual style, no? So, that's another issue with using raster images. Okay? So, ang gawin natin is, hanapin lang natin yung circle na to, and it's as easy as just overlaying. So, I can just overlay a circle like so, as best I can. Tapos, para alam ko kung saan yung distance niya from this corner, I can just do REC. Then, selecting the corner. And the good thing about this technique is that I can select both. Tapos, i-move ko lang sila such that I'll hold it using the base point atong lower corner. Ito. I'll select this lower corner para pag nilipat ko dito sa 3D object ko, like so, pwede ko siya idikit mismo sa corner na to and it will be perfectly aligned, no? Like so. And I have successfully transferred the circle exactly where I want it to be, no? And the last step would just be to press pull. To diretso, butasin natin siya pababa para ma-create tong hole na to. And if I go to hidden, this is exactly what I want, to. Parang ganyan siya. Okay? So, it's sort of a wall. Kaya siya ganyan. Let's do shades of gray. So that's my wall, no? Or sorry, that's my object. Parang may platform ka sa baba, may wall ka dito to the side, and may hole ka. So this more looks like a bracket, no? Parang bracket siya, if you think about it. Parang siyang L bracket na merong parang hole for a probably a screw or something. Okay? Right? Sige, habol mo na yung iba. I'll change to hidden ulit para mas dali siyang makita, no? Imagine. Okay, again, if you're having trouble, just raise your hand. Tapos, lalapitan namin kayo ni Jody. Again, if you're having trouble selecting objects, no, especially kung overlapping na sila lahat, you can always just hide first some of the objects that you don't want to work with muna, no? Pwede nyo right-click, tapos can do is right-click, click the object, right-click, isolate, tapos either hide the object or isolate the object. That's one way to do it, no? Most students just like to use wireframe, no? Kasi pag naka wireframe mode, nasa-select nila yung individual lines without any problem. So I get the merit, no, of using wireframe. Actually, parang nagme-make sense din, no? Kasi hindi nyo na kailangan umikot dun sa baba para ma-select. The problem with wireframe naman is that kung complicated yung object, masyadong madaming overlapping lines. Baka mas nakakalito naman siya. Okay? Some students, ako, if I want to mix both advantages, I use X-ray, no? Kasi X-ray gives you an idea of how the 3D object looks in space. At the same time, kita din yung mga lines from behind, no? So X-ray is also good. For the most part, maganda tong hidden. Okay? So I think okay naman yata na. So let's go into the layout tab. So again, punta lang tayo dito sa layout tab, no? And in the layout tab, kaya-create tayo na. I'll first show you the powerful way, no, which is the using the view base na command, which is this one, using view base. Pero again, for those without view base and for those users na naka-Mac, tuturuan ko din kayo ng manual method para gawin yung section, no? Using the old method, deprecated na nga siya ngayon, which is the draw, kalimutan ko na yung command. Well, babalikan naman natin siya. So, okay, so let's start with the more convenient one, view base. Let's just select view base right here. Select natin from model space, and again, it will take a few. The first time you'll do this in when dealing with a new file, matagal talaga siya, so okay lang na parang feeling nyo naglalag siya. Okay, but if you have a more powerful PC, almost instant siya lalabas, no? Sa akin, hindi ganun ka-powerful yung device ko, no? So it takes a bit of time before it loads. And load na ba? Hindi ko alam ba't nag-take especially long siya ngayon, no? Usually hindi siya ganito katagal, given na simple lang din yung object natin, no? Ayan, lumitaw na siya. So what we'll do is, di ba dun sa given natin na object, we had the front view and the top view. Tapos front view, top view. Tapos yung section natin ginawa natin coming from the top view, no? So okay lang to. Let's do front as the parent or the base. Okay lang yan. And masyado maliit yung 1:1. I could probably get away with, try lang natin 2:1, no? 2:1. Okay lang ba 2:1? Parang okay lang 2:1. Okay? So I'll select this one, press enter. Then select from the top, press enter. And sorry. Mali to, no? If you look at it, mali siya because again, hindi ko binago. Ito, parati kong nakakalimutan tong part na to. Change to third angle first, no? So styles and standards, third angle projection. Let's just delete this. And let's do view base again. And notice how basta kung second time niyo siya ginawa after the first one, mabilis na siya, no? So I'll do 2:1. Let's do front view again. Press enter, then click sa taas to give you the top view. No need to create the isometric. Hindi naman siya kailangan ngayon. So just press enter. And we have this one. Tapos ang gagawin natin is we'll do an aligned section, no? So let's do an aligned section. And we'll have to copy this one, no? Kasi we don't know the angle. O pwede namang copy natin yung angle mismo. So let me just quickly go back sa given. Kailangan kasi natin i-measure kung ano tong angle na to, no? Measure. It's 49 degrees, around 49 degrees. So from the center, magpo-49 degrees tayo papunta dyan. Okay? So we'll do, dito balik tayo sa layout tab. Layout. Tapos section. Let's do an aligned section, which is this one, no? Then select the parent. Our parent would be the top view kasi again, we're creating it from the top view. Tapos, ang starting point natin would be from this center. Again, there's two ways to do this. Pwede nyo i-create siya purely from using the sectional tools, no? So ang gagawin ko, you rely heavily on tracking lines. So alam ko magsa-start siya dito pero it's aligned with this center. So parang ganyan. So I'll track it like so. Then papunta dun sa center. Then dito, I'll select an angle. And this is measured from the vertical, no? So, kailangan, tama ba? Is it measured from the vertical? 0 siya dito. So, ibig sabihin, tama, measured from the horizontal pala, pero counterclockwise. So, kung dito, we can say, anong sabi ko? 59 kanina? Ano pa din? 49? 49 nga ata. So, kung 49 siya from the, ano yun? Measured from the vertical ba yun? Vertical, no? So, kung 49 siya, it's 49. 180 minus 49. That's 180 minus 130. 180 minus, tama ba? 131. So, pwedeng gawin natin is negative 131 para from 0 dito, negative 131 tayo dito. So, we can do negative 131. Ayan, mali. Not negative 131. So, mali. Ba't mali yung math ko? Wait lang. 0. As 49 siya from the... 90 pala. 90 minus 59. Ano yon? Negative 31. Tama? 90 minus 49. Negative 31, no? So, let's do negative 31 dapat yung angle natin. Parang hindi. Negative 41. Sige. Negative 41. Oh, tama. Ay. Negative 41. Yan. Okay na ang negative 41. Okay? So, now that okay na yung natin, align section, ang gagawin natin is i-create lang natin siya diretso to the right, no? And press enter. And again, ito yung bug na sinasabi ko wherein only half of the section is hatched. So we'll have to do another hatching dito sa kabilang half. So we can easily just correct this by creating a polyline, no? Ito. And probably I'll use the layer, I'll use the layer hatch, no, para magmamatch yung ano niya, property. So I'll do another polyline here. Tapos I'll do hatch. Then select the polyline na ginawa ko. Wait, sorry. Hatch. Then select, saan ba dito siya? Select this one. Select the polyline na kakagawa ko lang. Yan, press enter. And na-correct na natin. So again, yun yung bug na sinasabi ko. There's a forum about this, no? And actually, nag-post ako sa forum. Tapos nag-post din si Sir Jeff Hoyt sa forum na yun. Wherein, since 2020 pa yata yung issue. Always, pag meron tayong align section, only half gets hatched, no? So, we'll just have to manually correct it. So, ito na yung final answer. And ang kulang dito is center line lang, no? Center line. Let's create a center line from this line to this one. Okay? And we'll have to change the properties. 0.5 yung ginawa natin, no? Para lumitaw. Yan. So, that's our final answer. So, it's the same final answer na nakuha natin using the manual technique or 2D technique. Okay? So, another option, I'll just delete this para lang explore yung other option. Other option, and this is, I think, easier because what makes this option easier is because parang kita nyo na from the start kung nasaan yung ano tawag dito? Yung align section nyo. So, before you even begin doing the hatchings or the sectional view, ang gagawin nyo is, you just create a bunch of lines, no, that will show you the align section. So, ito, gagawin lang natin, negative 41. 41 na pala siya. 41. Alam nga yan. Now, because I have these guidelines, pagka ginawa ko yung section na to, pwedeng direct ko na siyang i-click doon sa guidelines na kinrate ko. Okay? So, that's another way of doing it. No? And it's arguably faster because you don't have to worry about tracking. Okay? Wait lang I'll just hatch this. Mamaya. Okay. So, for Mac users, I'll just show it in the label ko ito, Windows. Window. Okay. Tapos I'll show dito for Mac users, no? Para alam nyo siya kung paano gawin. So again, ang gagawin lang natin is create tayo ng a bunch of views. Tapos from there, we'll be using yung command, which is, wait lang, let me remember the command. Kahit ako nakalimutan ko. Ano yun? Draw? No. View, not view base. Ba't ko nakalimutan? Wait lang, ginamit ko to last time. Yun, solve view. Tama, solve view. The solve view command. Thank you. So, let's do solve view. Tapos, let's just do UCS muna. And let's do world. Tapos, let's do one correct na ata tong scale na to. Tapos specify the view center. Let's just select somewhere here. And mali. So let's move it around. Like so. Pwede move around. So ito yung top view natin. Pwede na to. So let's press enter. Then select the viewport para matrim down natin yung view, which is this one, viewport. And gagawin natin is let's name this view as top view, top. Tapos next is let's do ortho para maka-create tayo ng bottom view, or sorry, front view. So ito, let's just create this side from here. Create natin dito. And it's a good distance naman siya, no? It's probably ganyan siguro. So press enter again. Let's specify the viewport, which is this one, para lang matrim natin. Press enter again. Tapos let's name this as front. Okay? And I'll exit out muna para makorek ko lang yung ano, no, kasi hindi siya masyadong litaw. Temporarily babaguhin ko siya to blue para lang mas kita. Parang ganyan. And later on, ma-delete naman natin to ano. For now, let's just remove the grid lines. So turn the grid lines off first. Double click into the view. Turn the grid lines para mas malinis siya tingnan. Again, we'll solve this later, no, itong portion na kita yung boundaries ng viewport. Okay? Okay tayo dito. Tapos ang gagawin natin is as early as now, create na tayo ng lines na gagamitin natin para sa sectional view natin. Kasi we'll be needing it later on. No? So I'll just create it dito. And again, ang ginawa is 51, no? 41 ba? 41. Parang ganyan. So we have this line right here. Okay? Para siguro i-trim natin konti to. Parang ganyan. Right? Para, if I do again solve view, I'll do section. Specify natin ito. Tapos first point of the cutting plane would be, and I'll enable endpoint muna. Endpoint lang ba kailangan ko dito? Endpoint lang kasi hahanapin ko lang. At saka kailangan ko yung endpoint and intersection siguro. Okay, so let's do, hindi niya nahahanap, no? Ba't hindi niya mahanap yung line? Kasi wait lang. May konting problema pala. Kasi ito hindi kasi part of yung lines na kinrate natin, hindi siya detectable. Kailangan kasi doon sa view mismo. So we'll have to create the auxiliary view doon sa mismong object natin, no? Dito sa solid natin. Kailangan natin dito i-create yung lines mismo. So, let me just turn this to yellow first para lang makita nyo. So, I think what we need to do is create the line here first. Create lang tayo ng line, which is, turn this on. Let's turn endpoint. Endpoint and intersection. Baka enough na yun for this one. So let's do line. Ay, kulang pa pala. Kailangan natin ng center and quadrant. Mas madali na. So pwede ang gawin ko is I'll create the line first. Tapos ito 41. Okay. So, pag bumalik ako doon, dito, and let me change again this one to blue, no? Okay. So, this is now part of the, itong auxiliary natin para mas mabilis natin mahanap siya. So, let's do solve view again. Tapos, let's do section. Select the cutting point and again, enable lang natin yung endpoint pati intersection, I believe. Okay lang pala, kahit endpoint lang. Let's select this one, and let's select this one. View scale is 1. Okay lang. And let's select it. Papunta dyan. And mga okay naman to na distance, no? Press enter. Then first corner of the viewport again. Again, medyo matrabaho lang siya pagka when we're doing no. And let's say this is, let's say, sectional view, SEC na lang. Parang ganyan. And we can just escape out. Ito. Tapos nagawa naman ng solve view, no? Pero hindi proper yung hatching niya. And I'm wondering if hindi lang siya na-regenerate. Hatch, sectional hatch. Hindi talaga lumitaw at all, no? Kahit naka-hatch siya. Let's look at the model view. Tingnan ko lang. Wala pa siya. Okay? Gawin natin is, and let me just turn off the grid lines here. Grid. Gawin natin is, we'll do solve draw para ma-create itong mga lines na to. So, solve draw tayo. And using solve draw exposes the hatch line. And in fact, mas okay pala yung no? Okay. Ang downside lang, hindi kaya. Sorry. Hindi kaya ni solve view yung no? Hindi kinaya ni solve view yung align section kasi when we created the align section, notice how ito orthogonal lang yung ginawa niya. Hindi niya ginawa yung align. Let me just do a quick search, no? Can solve view unfortunately hindi, no? Yung legacy hindi pala kaya, sorry. So for Mac users, gamitin nyo lang yung PCs muna. Parang upload nyo muna yung work nyo sa isang the computer lab will be available during finals week, no? So if you have to do your projects, pasok na lang kayo dito tapos gumamit kayo ng kailangan nyo mag-permit. You'll have to file a lab permit. Marunong kayo mag-lab permit? Na-try nyo na ba mag-lab permit sa UP? As a MMM? Lab permit is accessed through the MME website, no? So if you search the MME website, select nyo to. Tapos nandito siya. It's under resources and forms, tapos online lab reservation system. Tapos select nyo lang yung computer lab, no? So dito, yes, proceed, next. Hanapin nyo lang yung computational instructional laboratory. Select nyo lang siya. Tapos sabihin nyo kung ano yung gagawin nyo. And si Ma'am Cheska actually yung dito, no? Yung Ma'am Cheska is the FIC for the computational laboratory. So siya yung mag-approve ng mga permits nyo. Okay? Again, if you want to use the computer lab during finals week for your final project, you can always file a reservation para pwede nyo gamitin. Okay? So yun, unfortunately, walang kahit gumamit tayo ng legacy na solve view and solve draw, hindi natin magagawa yung yung align section, no? But it's possible to do a regular na full section, no? Align section hindi lang kaya. Right? So, balik tayo dito. This is now our align section. And ito, hindi ko lang na no? Let me just manually hatch ito. Let's do, saan ko ba ilalagay ito? MD hatch pala ilalagay. Medyo madami na yung